Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Alpha 3.8.1 on the PTU has been taken down due to instability, but I wanted to go over some of the data mined information from that in a bit more detail, what we know about medical gameplay that CIG has planned for the future, as well as some news updates in general with the RSI Subflair in the form of new melee weapons, or at least skins for them, and some bits that you can get involved with now. Alpha 3.8.1 is the next planned live build of Star Citizen's persistent universe. The PTU was up on the 14th and 15th of January, but is currently down due to a lot of instability, resulting in a lot of client and server crashes. CIG said we'll be taking down the current PTU, we have collected a lot of useful data, and we will be bringing back the environment online when we have a more stable build to provide. I would expect CIG are aiming to get a new PTU build up for this weekend and a potential live build for 3.8.1 by the end of January. Also, another update to that patch, CIG have said we will be adding a checkbox to disable film grain, most likely within the next patch, 3.8.1. Film grain type effects have affected some people, even though there was no option for it, just giving like a weird grainy effect on the screen, and a option to turn it on and off would be welcomed for some. Beyond general fixes, quality of life improvements, and a few other things the patch may bring, we may see platform persistence, that's at least possible, though at the very least 3.8.1 should have a progress wipe when it goes live, because there were some exploits in 3.8.0 which had people earning as much Alpha UEC as they wanted pretty easily. CIG said they wanted to put some new armor in that 3.8.1 patch, or at least in January. The armor from the CitizenCon demo and the 2949 goodies pack, I believe. Some other things that were data mined in 3.8.1 by Star Citizen leaks were additional missions from Miles Eckhart and assassination missions as part of that, and Halium or Jallium, a new commodity, potentially a mineable, that's going to be in the game at some point, again, potentially for 3.8.1. There's also been a bit more medical gameplay and rumours associated with the Cutlass Red that might be coming with 3.8.1. We know the Cutlass Red is planned to come with 3.8.1, although the leaks we've seen on it, the ship does not seem complete, but that literally could be because it wasn't included in that 3.8.1 PTU properly. So CIG have said at the very least they want to release the Cutlass Red in January. There was some data mined info from that patch suggesting that players may be able to set their own spawn points during a session manually and separately from a major landing location. This could be a bed in a ship or a medical bay. The leak is directly from some hints, and the hints read: set a preferred intensive care unit, ICU, to respawn there after you are severely injured. This persists until the preference is cleared from the device or a new preferred ICU is set. Clear an ICU preference from a device to reset your spawn location to your selected login bed. Setting a new preferred ICU will also clear your previous preferences. If your intensive care unit ICU preference is unavailable at time of respawn, you will instead use your selected login bed. This will also clear that ICU as your preference. Set that device as your preferred ICU again to continue using it. So I think there's a possibility that we will see the ability to set temporary spawn points during sessions at ships with beds, or it could be medibays, which would both make sense, I suppose, but medibays with the inclusion of the Cutlass Red and the Carrack soon, and we also have the medibay and the 890 Jump 2. Are there any other medibays in the game at the moment, in actual ships that are flyable ships? Tell me down below if I've missed any out, I might have. The other thing that may open up as well at some point in the near future are hospitals and infirmaries at landing zones, which I suppose in the short term CIG would only need to have like a waiting room that you spawn in when you spawn in that hospital when you get severely injured. That said, as you spawn at the last landing zone you currently landed at, this is almost certainly not what the hints are talking about, but in the future there will be a marked difference in where you respawn if you died compared to you just logging back on, or where you'd sleep in your hab normally, that sort of stuff. Prison gameplay that's planned for 3.9 as well will have you spawning at Klesha Automated Prison if you have a criminal rating and a security NPC or player bounty hunter takes you out, and you sort of like, if you are severely injured in their sort of area of influence, I suppose. Lots of people have asked me to cover medical gameplay in a bit more detail, so I'll do a quick summary of that now. There are going to be medical-related missions, search and rescue missions, and CIG have suggested that they want hospitals and some facilities to allow players to be respawned there. And there may be fees associated with that. Players may be able to choose to spawn at another player's endeavour, hospital, that sort of stuff, and then you get charged for using the services there if you wanted to do that. In the short term, though, I expect the expansion of items for medical gameplay beyond Medipens and Oxypens. They have been working on the ability for items to be used on NPCs and other players, so you can literally jab someone else with them to heal them up's the idea there. Though they have said they want Medipens to be more of a quick temporary fix to get you back on your feet so that you can get better treatment, but expect more items that will allow you to treat different types of injury and status effects, because status effects are getting more and more built out with this. They want to build in knockdowns, dragging bodies, stuns, bleed outs, effects from environments, effects from getting different types of damage all into the system, stun damage even now, and getting knocked out in melee is sort of like a step towards this. As they are improving the player status system, you'll get more and more of these features coming into the game. Buffs, debuffs, hunger, temperature, thirst, some of this stuff might actually be able to be treated with medical gameplay, or is at least partly associated with it. Later, they want a tiered damage system when it comes to treatments of injuries. 3 basic tiers, tier 3 being light wounds, tier 2 being multiple crippled or destroyed limbs, and tier 1 being near-death injuries. Different facilities will be able to cater for different tiers of damage, but tier 3 facilities at the very least can stabilise patients until they get to tier 1 or tier 2 facilities if needed. So you're not going to be like, well, I'm near death, this ambulance can't do anything for me. There may be all sorts of mini-games as well associated with the different levels of medical gameplay, but the idea is you will be able to have field medics, you'll be able to have people operating ambulances, and you'll be able to have like these large hospitals and areas where you're treating players or NPCs, and then associated missions where you're searching and rescuing people. All of these mechanics in Star Citizen, though, you'll get step by step. You'll get lots of little pieces and iterations on them, and then after some time, you'll actually see them like merge together a bit more, or consider them a full job role or mechanic. To what extent medical gameplay will tie into Death of the Spaceman and insurance remains to be seen at this stage, though. There's some new subscriber flair and some changes to RSI Subflair in 2020 as well. January is the start of our new shared flair initiative, where for every other month in 2020, subscribers will get flair from either the character or props team. That means more variety in the types of in-game rewards we can offer, and we pass those assortments on to you. It's one way we're continuing our attempts to evolve the subscriber program going forward. It's not everything we want to do, but it's one more thing we think you'll enjoy along the way. So last month in Alpha 3.8, we saw the introduction of the first melee weapons in-game with the Ulti-Flex combat knife, and this month's Subflair is some sort of reskinned versions of those knives. So the standard RSI subs, the Centurions, get a Ghost combat knife with a grey blade and a light blue grip. Emperators get that knife, and the Mirage combat knife, which has a gold blade and a brown grip. These lethal melee weapons have no benefits over the standard combat knife in-game at the moment, though, other than looking cool. But, I mean, that's why a lot of people want these aesthetic items. Also, you get it, and it's an item, so you don't actually have to buy the combat knife, I suppose. Inside Star Citizen returns next week, so I think the 23rd of January, but we should have some monthly reports tomorrow, so that's a lot of information that I will get around to summarising once we have it. Also, we've got Star Citizen Live building a vehicle experience. Friday at 7 PM UTC, they've got Vehicle Pipeline Director John Crew and Gameplay Programmer David Coulson, who's in charge of the new flight model, on the show, and they're talking about vehicles and the vehicle experience, bringing that to life. They'll reflect on lessons learned in 2019, as well as discuss some of what they hope to achieve in 2020, and you can ask questions related to the general operation of ships and ground vehicles for that week's show. So there's a note here as well. Topics related to specific professions like mining, salvaging, and trading, while often done with a vehicle, are not part of the vehicle experience, work, or team, and cannot be addressed by those specific sort of devs. So those questions won't be answered, but make sure you ask questions that are relevant, is what they're saying. I will link the thread down below if you want to ask CIG some questions. I am going to be streaming around 5 PM UTC tomorrow, so literally before that show, and I will finish just before it starts is the plan. If anyone is interested in dropping by and chatting, asking me some questions, saying hello, whatever, I will be talking about whatever's a hot topic during the day. Anyway, do you think Alpha 3.8.1 will get into a stable state in the near future and address some of those major issues in the 3.8 branch to make it more playable? Or do you think that a lot of these issues will still be there until 3.9 live? Do you think we're getting the Cutlass Red and potentially temporary spawn points in 3.8.1? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a ship giveaway for January 2020. It's for an Anvil Arrow and Star Citizen game package. Just comment on any of my videos made this month to be in for a chance. More details in the description below. Oh, it's time to shill. If you're looking for a VPN, then consider NordVPN. They have many advantages over free VPNs, but are incredibly cheap, and I use them and can recommend. There's Shadow as well, which is an alternative to owning your own gaming PC. They give you a sort of Windows 10 environment focused on gaming, and it leverages the power of your internet and their cloud so that you can stream it to any device or other PC or laptop or phone or whatever. And you can now order systems with varying scales of hardware for up to 4K gaming, and as always it works fantastically well with Star Citizen. It's an extremely affordable way to get access to a high-spec PC. Links below to Shadow and Nord, and make sure you use the code BoredGamer to get a discount. Thank you very much for watching, and if you want to support my channel further, consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member via the join button, or sharing my videos, or liking and subscribing. Take care, and I'll see you in the verse.